we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 101 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So, episode 100 has come and gone. And hey, I just learned the other day that most podcasts never actually go past episode 1. Which, I don't know, I guess I could kind of see that. Like, I'm gonna create this content. It's going to be the shit. And then you start talking and you're like, I don't know what to say. Does it sound cool? Is it like interesting and stuff? No, it's not. But people got to drive to work and they want something other than their thoughts to keep them company. So fucking contribute, you know. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, I'm not going to try to lie to you and say that I have any kind of a plan or any kind of content or any kind of prep. What I do have is a blazing fucking headache. Because much to my chagrin, I'm on the way, you bet, you fucking guessed it, to the airport again, a couple of days before Christmas. And here I am, here I go. Which I guess is a little bit whiny and fruity because, you know, in the day it used to be like, Christmas is Christmas. The day before Christmas is Christmas Eve, and the day before that isn't anything. So quit being a pain in the ass. It's like the whole world turned into a college girl and it's all of our fucking birthday or some shit. Like, it's my birthday month. Like, you have to be cool to me. OMG, give me all the free shit that I want. Like, no. I'm not doing any of that. But some cool shit. Well, some cool shit. I'm not going to say cool shit. Some shit, some noticeable shit, some things, some stuff have taken place since last we speaked. Dude, yeah, it's pretty much far and away not cool at all. I don't have the name in front of me, but some fucking unstitched fucking kook woman, well, woman junior, shot up a Christian school, and fucking woman moment, man, sips coffee, wrote out a manifesto, but then put it in Google Docs and, like, password protected it so as nobody could fucking see it. And I don't know, there was some rumored business about, like, part of it had gotten leaked or some kind of a thing. I don't know what the deal is, but the last I heard was that it was like, oh yeah, I wrote a manifesto, but you can't see it. And like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's constant supervision, dude. Constant supervision. And I'll tell you what, I think I refrain from going too hard on women on this piece because I know there are a few women that probably very few. Like, what woman in her right mind would listen to this? I want to hear coffee, rant, and rave. That's what I build my day around. But I know there's a couple, maybe one or two. And I don't want to put them in a spot where it's like, oh, fuck, coffee, I didn't do anything. Why you got to break nuts like this? So it's like, you know, I don't mean you all, or, you know, you two, you know, whatever the two women are who actually listen to this. And I know that, you know, probably if it's a woman listening to this, that she's probably the sort that does her level best, has a family, does the right thing, tries to support her old man, and that's terrific. Or if it, on the very off chance that it's some younger lady that's, I don't know, somehow besmirching her day with an hour of abuse, I want to be inclined to think that she's like, yeah, you know, I try to stay modest. I try to not be a kook. I try to not get sucked into all the jackassery and what have you. But, so, I mean, in that sense, you know, I hate to step on toes and I hate to lump them in when I say women, these fucking women. I don't mean them. That would be unfair and unkind and uncool. But I'll tell you something, you know, with that disclaimer out of the way, these fucking women, man, what in the wide world of fucking sports is going on out here? I mean, good God almighty, dude. Between the fucking, between the Gorilla Harris thing and now this shit like this fucking, this, you know, another school shooter, that's some unstitched fucking woman with an axe to grind. What the fuck is going on out here? I mean, because I look at the state of it, man, and I see, where at large women are bitching and complaining and I don't have this and I'm not going back. And like, going back to fucking what? Going back to having your house paid for? Going back to not having to cover your own insurance? Going to have to not get out of bed at the crack of fucking dawn to go fucking earn a paycheck? Yeah, that's a real motherfucker to have to not go back to. Like, I'll take that deal every day of the week. Oh, hey, coffee, somebody's going to cover your home, your insurance. They're going to give you a car. All you got to do is pick up a little and try to be pleasant once in a while. Get out of bed when you feel like it. Don't strain yourself. Try to look good. If you want to go get a little workout, do a little yoga for yourself. Take care of coffee, right? Do the right thing. That would be just fine. But instead, that's not what any of us get. Instead, what you get is you get to pick up the tab on all this shit, and then you're also going to get fucking graded. Dude, I don't know if I seen that little fucking clip of some woman talking, and she looks like she's got to be like 35 plus, talking about like, I hear you saying some kind of thing like, you want to take me on a walk? I'm not a dog. I don't go for a walk. You want to meet for coffee? I have a Cafe Espresso, fucking whatever the fuck. It works just fine. It's beautiful. No, we're going to go to dinner. You're not going to get me drunk, try to take me back to your place. No, we're going to go to dinner. I'm going to watch your manners. I'm going to watch how you order. Just going to study you a little bit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Like, you're submitting yourself for a fucking grade, out here. And at the same time, women are fucking screaming and bitching about the rights they don't have and the protections they don't have. And I'll tell you what I've never seen is a fucking battered men's shelter. Like, men that have just been pushed again and again and again and again. And you're like, fuck this, I gotta get out of here. Like, where are you gonna go? I'm going to the battered men's shelter. And I'll tell you what, any fucking married dude that you talk to, because I talk to a lot of married dudes, and it's like, yeah, I could see where that would be reasonable. Because you'll hear like young dudes spout some shit about like, bro, you just gotta control your game, bro. Like, you just gotta take charge and show them who's boss, bro. And I'm like, oh, is that what it is? You must be the smartest motherfucker ever to walk the earth. Because, when I see motherfuckers like, like Putin or Trump or Jeff Bezos or Tom fucking Brady all getting divorced, and now, you're going to have like some kid that's 19, like, what you got to do, bro? Is like, oh, okay, why don't you take a break? When you're on your smoke break, slinging fast food, why don't you step out here and straighten out everybody else on exactly how it is to handle a woman and make shit work properly? Because the way that it is now, this business of like, you don't hear some shit of like, oh yeah, the feminist movement, maybe that kind of spawned these school shooters, or maybe the LGBT queerty thing, maybe that contributed a little bit. Maybe we got to take a little ownership and reel it in. Because, just like this, like, I don't get on here and say, yeah, motherfucker, you should go out and do X, Y, and Z, because somebody might, take something the wrong way and like, well, fucking Coffee said to come out here and lock and load and go hot and start clipping people in the fucking streets. Like, no, I didn't say some shit like that. And then, if somebody did do some crazy shit and somebody pointed the finger at me, I'd have to turn around and be like, well, fuck, let me go back and see what I said. And maybe, did I say some shit that could have been misconstrued? And take some fucking ownership like a fucking man. But instead, you got these fucking broads that are like, I actually heard, and I think I'd mentioned this before, when that tranny went and did that school shooting, and I can't remember what the name of that school was, but you know the one, that actually a girl tranny went and did that thing, that there were people fucking saying, and usually fucking women, talking about like, well, she didn't have a choice, like that's the position that she was put in, or I guess they wanted to say he, whatever the fuck, was put in. But you're actually trying to sell this idea of like, at some point, somebody had a gun in their hand, pointing it at fucking school children, and you're going to say they had no choice other than that. You're going to have to wake up pretty fucking early in the morning to sell me that one, man. I don't think, I can't think of a way, actually, where you're in a position like that and saying, well, I really had no choice. What choice did I have? I mean, I had to kill them, didn't I? Like, no, but that's what they're going to fucking run with. So, fucking hell, man. I mean, just looking at the way that shit is going, and now this business with this spending bill that they're talking about, this omnibus thing, I think it got shut down. I imagine they're going to try to float it again, but it was basically like Congress gets a 40-something% pay increase. A bunch of motherfuckers get free stuff. Ukraine gets more money. Biolabs get funded. There's some talk about like vaccine passports or some shit. I didn't see the details on that. But you look at the people that get put in place to do this shit. They get put in place to make this shit a reality. And what the fuck else can you say except that the 19th Amendment was a stupid fucking idea? Because we can get in the weeds on each of these little items on why should Congress get a fucking pay increase and I shouldn't. Why should you get a pay increase when you do a shit job? Or you're going to try to tell me you don't really get a pay increase because there's not really inflation or some kind of shit when everybody knows that there is. I've been to the grocery store. We could get in the weeds on all this little ticky-tack shit, or we could just ask ourselves, like, who put these fucking morons in charge? And if we're being fucking honest with ourselves, I mean, I think somebody like Bill fucking Clinton is the perfect fucking example, right? Because what did this fucking clown really run on? I could play the saxophone, check it out. I'm pretty charming. I'm just a good old hillbilly, and my wife's a real fucking charmer. So, you know, you got to ask yourself, or Obama, fucking Obongo, with this fucking eat, pray, love bullshit, and these fucking women out here wringing their fucking hands. Dude, and I'll tell you, and I'll get to this shit here forthwith, the Candace Owens thing, because it reminded me of that. But I listened to part of, not all of, but part of this deal with Jake Shields interviewing Tommy Sotomayor. And that said, if you don't know who that is, he's that black dude that he gives some base takes. You know, mostly I think he addresses the black community, and I think, you know, he addresses some items in general, but I mean, I think mostly he focuses on the black community. And what's his dick there? They're talking about like a lot of the interracial, you know, friction type shit, and kind of the vibe of like, oh, you know, we don't gotta be, you know, we don't gotta fucking fight all the time. We can be friends, you know. Who's fucking behind this kind of shit, you know? And I can dig that in some ways, you know, insofar as like nobody really expects black people to be any way other than the way that they are. Nobody with a fucking brain, anyway. They are the way that they are, and where there's a difference, you know, where there's like your Thomas Sowell or your Tommy Sotomayor, where there is somebody that's like a cut above, okay, well and good. But we can't all live next door to fucking Thomas Sowell, can we? So this business of like jockeying the one base black dude, or in the instance of Candace Owens, jockeying that, it's fucking lame to me. So bouncing over real quick to the Candace Owens tip, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. Guys were talking about it in the chat. And I see that Candace Owens has come out to present some, there's no other way to say, some fairly based takes to mention the USS Liberty and this kind of thing, and to mention, you know, to say a lot about AIPAC and this kind of thing. Well and good, man. Well and good. I guess the thing is, you know, it's very strange to me how some people get play and other people will get fuck all. You know, I mean, like your Nick Fuentes, yeah, he talks all right. He wears a suit. He's there at what appears to be like a news desk. But for fuck's sake, man, I mean, you're not really doing a lot. You know, a guy like Spectre, you know, any of these guys, the guys at Full House, Black Pill, Devin Stack, any of these fucking guys, these guys are putting out quality content 10 times of what, you know, your Nick Fuentes is pushing out. But somehow somebody like Fuentes or Base Black Sister Girl, somehow these people are getting just infinite amounts of play beyond what anybody that's just within our thing is getting. And you got to ask, like, Well, why the fuck is that? And somehow they're getting pushed out at a much higher level to a much broader audience. When somebody like Base Nubian Princess is pushing out, talking points that within our thing, guys have been making for years and years. Like, hey, look at this USS Liberty. These Israelis who say you're their friend and your ally and this kind of shit. Yeah, 36 people got killed and a bunch of people got injured. What about it, friend? And, how much play does that get? It's like, oh, yeah, it's old news, whatever. But this chick comes out talking about it. And suddenly it's like, oh, fuck, you know what Candace Owens said? Bro, fucking based, bro. Yeah, based. Why the fuck is this so relevant, man? This business of like somehow a black woman or a black dude talking about something that you've been talking about for years, somehow it carries more weight because they're black? What kind of fucking weak shit is this, dude? Like, what kind of cucked bullshit are you slinging here? Now, look, man, I can dig that the normies will lend an ear in that sense, just like the Jake Shields and the Sotomayor thing. Tommy Sotomayor. But I mean, again, to me is like, look, man, if you're fighting against the tiny hats and you're supporting, even if you're just supporting, like, look, man, a racial group should be able to look out for themselves. This guy's looking out for the black community, terrific. If Candace Owens is looking out for the black community, terrific. That's got nothing to do with me, man. If you're doing your thing and it's helping normies ask some questions and say, I'm kind of confused by what I'm seeing. I thought these people were white. This Ben Shapiro fella, I thought he was from Ohio or some such. If they start asking questions, okay, well then terrific, man. But we don't got to lean on that, dude. We don't got to lean on that and like, well, Candace Owens said, dude, I don't give a fuck. As a gag, or look at this, like a novelty act. Yeah, sure, man. I mean, I'm not gonna motherfuck her, that like, fuck that bitch. I'm not interested in that. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But I mean, I am gonna have to say, like, well, why the fuck you take such an interest now? Like, you've been hearing this shit from your own people for years. But suddenly, somehow, you hear it from this black chick, you hear it from a black dude, suddenly you're paying a fucking attention. What the fuck is this? It's fucking amateur night. And to me, man, it really speaks to this overly feminized culture where everybody's got to say sorry and everybody's got to wring their hands and everybody's got to watch their step, and it's just fucking Christ awful. Which brings us to something I really wanted to hit on that, I don't know how to say. Maybe controversial, maybe not controversial, something that's been discussed a little bit. The Luigi Mangione, the Luigi the Adjuster. What a guy. Apparently, like, the latest greatest with this guy is that he's not going to fight extradition to New York. He got rolled up in wherever the fuck it was, somewheres in Pennsylvania at a tiny ass McDonald's, which I forgot to mention last time that the story was that the Luigi got fingered by some old woman who works at McDonald's, like some senior citizen doing a little side hustle, because I imagine Social Security wasn't covering the spread, right? So you got to get out here and hustle fries and shakes, right? Because this is how your life turned out, man. You can't stay alive just on what you set aside either from your husband or from your working days via Social Security or anything else. You got to get out here and work fucking McDonald's. So apparently the story was that the guy's in there and this old woman says, is that fucking guy? And makes the fucking phone call, and the feds come, somehow happen to be nearby. I had just thought of that, actually, that, like, how close were these fucking feds, right? Or how close was these fucking cops where, like, somebody calls in and they're like, I think I see the guy at McDonald's. And they're like, okay, yeah. But I don't know what, just jump right in the fucking car and hauled ass over there. So I'll tell you what, before we move on, let me put on my fucking conspiracy guy hat and let me float it this way. Here's what if I was going to frame this as conspiracy time with coffee, let's have it. So look, how about this, man? Because when I look at the fucking pictures, right, the pictures that got floated, the Luigi Mangione, he's showing there with like a green jacket and a black backpack, and he's got his little mask down, and he's a smile, he's a flirting with the waitress, and he's a there, he makes a happy face, he's a charming boy, and he's doing that thing, and that's how people are recognizing him. But now this other cat, the other picture that they had up there of Bunny Ears, the shooter, for my money, don't really look like the Luigi, right? And he doesn't have the same unibrow. He's wearing a black jacket. He's got this white backpack. And what you're telling me is that dude, in a matter of days, he changed out his coat, his backpack, grew out his unibrow, but somehow forgot to get rid of the gun and the manifesto. If I was going to stretch it a little bit, I would say that maybe the guy presenting as the Luigi Mangione, maybe he got MK Ultra'd and they said, hey, you're going to meet your handler here at McDonald's. And he prestos himself to McDonald's. They hand him the backpack with all this shit in it. And they're like, bang, yeah, you got you now. And he gets rolled up. Is that a stretch? Shit, I don't know. I mean, at this point, what isn't a stretch, dude? It's like just as much of a stretch to imagine that all this weird shit has gone down just the way it's getting pitched to you. But I digress. So back to live action. So this 90-year-old woman, they say, again, how convenient is that? They're like, yeah, dear, you called. It was you that called. And yeah, you told him you don't remember? Oh, sweetie, that's okay. Because she's fucking 1,000 years old or whatever. But this woman at McDonald's calls, and now, surprise, surprise, whatever the fucking prize money was that she was going to get for diming out the guy that clipped this CEO dude, you ain't getting shit. You're not going to fucking get it. Well, why not? I don't know what the fucking details were. All I know is she ain't getting shit. That's the fucking story. I want to say the story was some shit like providing information that leads to apprehension by the feds or some shit. So maybe if it was just local cops that rolled him up, where they're like, oh yeah, well, so see, thing is, it was these local guys, so nobody really is going to get anything. So go fuck yourself. Go back to work at McDonald's. Go back to work at McDonald's and forget that it ever happened. So very dodgy, man. Very dodgy to me. But in any case, so this dude is apparently not fighting the extradition to New York. I saw a video of him getting escorted to whatever means of transport that they were going to put him in to bring his ass back to New York. And I mean, dude, it was like they were escorting Hannibal fucking Lecter out here, man. Like armed guards, a whole ton of motherfuckers out there walking around like it was quite something, quite a spectacle. And it made me wonder, like, one, I want to look this up, dude. I got to look this up. Like, how many murders were there? Not just in New York State, but I mean, even just in Manhattan. How many murders were there in the last year? And then I'd like to know, like, how many times did the FBI show up and genuinely jump through their ass to figure out, like, holy fuck, we got to find who did this, and we got to find it, like, immediately. Like, I need to know right away, like, who was behind this dastardly deed. Because they really jumped through their fucking ass, man. It was all hands on deck. And they rolled this guy up. And I gotta think that, like, there's fuckers out there slaying each other on the daily. I mean, shit, look at, like, Chicago. Do you think the FBI is getting out there? Like, look, these are pointless fucking murders, and there's people getting gunned down left and right. Somebody's got to do something. Well, how about you, Fed boy? Why don't you step in, contribute? Fuck that. I ain't going to fucking Chicago. I ain't going to fucking New York City. I ain't going to spend my afternoon in Manhattan trying to figure out why these illegal immigrants are killing those drug dealers over there. I don't give a fuck about that. No. But when it's one of their own, when it's one of the perfume princes, then suddenly it's a fucking priority. So, I mean, this business of, like, equal protection under the law, equal representation, all this shit, man, fuck you. I mean, this dude got looked out for. We're like, oh shit, somebody clipped a CEO of a healthcare company? Let's get on this, man. Well, not a moment to lose. Now, I've seen a lot of wacky takes on this shit. Like, murder is wrong. We don't support that in this society. Look, man, let me say this. Well, let me say a lot of this. There's only so many ways I could put this, but there's a lot of angles to it, I think. First and foremost, yes, All of us decent white people want to live in a society where people don't go around murdering each other. That's what we all want. We all want to be able to send our kids walking down the road to go visit their friends. We all want women to be able to walk to the store and not horse around or do anything fun. Just get over there, get what you need, and get back to the fucking house, right? But seriously, want people to be able to walk down the street and not get mugged, not get shanked, not get raped, not get hassled. All this shit, that is what we want. That is not what we have. The people running this shit circus have gone the extra mile to import the sort of people that guarantee that sort of life will never be accessible for you or for your kids, and probably not for your grandkids. It's going to take a whole lot of fucking assholes and elbows to make this thing function properly again. So the idea right out of the fucking gate that we all want to live in a decent white society where people don't murder each other, okay, you can't fucking have it, okay? You know, the few people that can have it, the few people that can afford it, you gotta fucking pay. It is extremely goddamn expensive to be able to live in a place where people don't behave that way. And increasingly, the people running this shit circus, who again would not be in charge if every fucking ding-dong on the planet didn't have a fucking say-so in it, are making it increasingly so that no matter where you are, no matter what you pay, you're going to be fucking stuck living this way. All right, where you got to defend yourself. Like, you got to go learn how to fight. Oh, your kid's like 12 and doesn't know how to fight? Your kid's like 13 and can't throw up a decent triangle? Like, where the fuck you been, guy? Come on, get your kid up to speed. All right, your kid needs to have a solid close guard game. Let's fucking go here. All right, this is where we're fucking at, man. So right out of the gate, this idea that like, well, murder, you see, that's just wrong. Okay, well, fine. Fuck off. All right, that doesn't fucking help right now. What I will rewind to fucking say is that look at the entire rest of every organism on this fucking planet. How do you decide who gets to be at the top of the pecking order? Fucking violence, man. And where a lot of animals, you know, stepping away from people, a lot of animals won't use their deadliest weapons against each other. When shit gets hectic, what goes down? Fucking fangs out, claws out. And somebody fucks around, somebody's going to get dead. All right, so you look at like, say, a pride o' lions. What happens when a new lion takes charge? The new lion kills off any of the little lions spawned by the previous boss. That's just how it is, man. That is the way nature is. It's fucking cruel. And I think allowing women and weak people to have a say in how we manage this society has basically led to a situation where we've got a lot of fucking weakness in an absolutely artificial way of existing. You know, where we've got fucking low IQ morons just running fucking wild. And people saying, no, just let them be. They don't know any better. Oh, he raped your daughter. Well, you know, that's normal for them. Let's just try to relax. Let's not do anything rash. Hey, let's not use harsh language either. You know, that hurts his feelings. All right, that's where we're fucking at. This is not a natural state. All right, and the pisser of it all, for my money, is that to get back on any normal semblance of conducting yourself as a large group of people living together, it's going to take some serious fucking violence, dude. I mean, I got to look at a writing that was purported to be by Thomas Jefferson, outlining what he was proposing as punishments for various crimes. And when he's talking about like high treason, or I don't remember what the other one, like petty treason, I think it was, there's some shit like dismemberment, public hanging, like just like really like serious business. Shit like rape, fucking hanging at dawn, man, like immediately. We're not going to fucking debate this shit. You did this shit, you're going to die. All right? Again, you know, murder, yeah, obviously. But we're at this fucking point where like there's so much crazy shit that's just been permitted to happen that the only way to get back on track is like you're driving down the freeway and like, you know, there's an exit coming up in 2 or 3 miles. You can gradually get over there and make sure you're on the right course. But when you see the exit coming up and you're like, oh fuck, Like, you got to make a drastic fucking correction, man. And some shit may very well get busted up. That's just the nature of the thing. So the way this is now, man, you got like the healthcare situation. And if you doubt how fucked up this is, dude, like, you look at other places, you look at I don't know how Europe is really so much. I know England's real fucked up, but like mainland Europe, I don't know how it is because I didn't spend enough time there to say, yeah, here's how healthcare goes down or here's how it doesn't go down. I don't really know. But Asia, I have seen a good bit of. Some countries that I saw, like I saw Sri Lanka, like I saw the inside of a hospital there. I was with a dude that got stabbed. And yeah, you don't want to get sick in Sri Lanka. I mean, I guess if you had to, it looked like they had their shit together. They took care of the guy all right. Just the same, man. It was not tip top. I don't want to get sick in Sri Lanka. I don't want to have to go to the hospital there. Other places like Thailand, I guess even India, man. If you're a rich person, which really is like low prices in the States, even the Philippines, dude. It's like you walk in there, you can get first world healthcare, and you can pay for it out of your fucking pocket, and it's not like it's gonna break you in half. It's not like buying 2 brand new cars for some asshole doctor. You go in there like, yeah, here's what I need you to do. All right, here's what it's going to cost. It's going to take a couple hours of my time. It's going to take some of the resources we got around here at the hospital. And you know what's fucked up is, like, I did some medical training way back when. And like all of those resources, man, like a lot of the drugs, I mean, maybe except for like the really high end, I don't know, this is to treat some nervous condition or some shit. This shit is not expensive, dude. A lot of this shit is just not expensive. So a lot of this shit that's like the antibiotics, the anesthetics, all this shit, like they give it to you to practice with. Like, here, just take this. Yeah, just take this shit. Out you go. All the IVs, all the bandages, the tape, all this shit that they're charging you out the ass for is like the shit they just give away. Nurses bring this shit home. Like, yeah, I'm just taking it to the house. They're stocked up. But instead, you go in here in the States and you get broken in fucking half. And why the fuck is that? Because, again, the people we allowed to be in charge, they get into this fucking deal where, like, all right, here's what we do. We're going to let these motherfuckers charge a goddamn ridiculous amount of money. But we got insurance, you see. Insurance. People just got to pay into it. But now you pay, you pay the fucking hospital. The people will pay you. We're going to say that we're charging this much. You just pay whatever, man. Just pay whatever. And then make sure a little taste comes back to me. And then everybody goes home happy. Except for you, Joe Taxpayer. Because they're always looking for a way to squeeze a little bit more out of you. So, circle jerking back to this United Healthcare situation. People are talking shit about like, oh, you want to talk about poor people? Well, this Mangione guy, he came from a rich family. And the Brian Thompson guy, the CEO that got gunned down, he came from a poor family. And he worked his way up, He worked his way up, and now you're gonna cheer him on getting gunned down? Well, that's like communist, bro. And these leftists are really violent, bro. And like, you know what, man? Rich dude, poor dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, this dude was in charge of an organization that regularly fucked people up the ass, broke them in fucking half, all right? The stat I saw was like an AI-generated 30% denial rate. So you put a fucking claim in with UHC, 30%, you're getting fucking denied. And again, like, I ain't your insurance guy. I ain't the fucking man in the weeds on this. I ain't any kind of expert. This is just the very limited information that I have perused. If you know better, then you tell me. But what I'm seeing is they're like, yeah, they got AI sorting through this shit, and apparently very strict fucking criteria, and about 30%. So 1 out of 3 claims. Bam, fuck you, get out of here. So you're paying into this shit. Remember that. You're paying out the fucking ass. So you can have insurance. So you don't get broken in half having to go to the hospital if you get fucked up or sick. So you pay into this thing. You go to the hospital, they tell you can go to. You put your fucking claim in and they're like, no, you didn't really need that. Fuck you. Or maybe we hold off a while, and then maybe next year when it resets, you could pay most of it, and UHC will pay fucking nothing. And you go fuck yourself. How's that sound? Oh, yeah, that's great. And meantime, you got to ask yourself, like, well, why are Americans so fucked up? Well, I wonder if it has anything to do with spending 8 fucking hours a day at a desk job from the time you're like 6 years old. Sitting on your ass being told to sit the fuck still, don't move around, don't run around, don't do anything, just fill out the fucking paperwork the way I tell you and get the fuck out of here. And at lunchtime, you're going to eat some trash that we're going to supply to you. We're not going to tell you how your body works. We're not going to tell you what you should be eating. We're not going to tell you the shit that is in the food that you're putting in your body that's fucking you up. You're never going to find out about that unless you go look for it yourself. We will tell you where you could saw your dick off if you want. But other than that, we're not going to fucking tell you anything. Then you're going to sit in that fucking desk job. You're going to get fucking fat. You're going to scratch your fucking head wondering why that is. You're going to go to some other fat bitch that's going to tell you, like, yeah, just eat cereal all day and you'll be fine. You know, just try to relax. Don't worry about sleep. Make sure you show up to your desk job. You keep getting more and more and more fucked up. So, like, now you go to a fucking doctor. Like, dude, I don't really go to doctors unless I absolutely goddamn have to. But the last couple of times when I've been to a doctor, one of the first questions they always ask you is not, are you on any meds? They ask you, what meds are you on? Right? Because they just naturally assume that everybody's on something, right? I'm like, no, dude, I ain't taking shit. No, I mean, you know, anything at all. I mean, not just, not like cholesterol meds or psych meds or like uppers, downers, screamers, laughers, any of this shit. You taking anything? No, man. I take a Motrin once in a while, dude. I ain't taking any of your fucking pills. Huh, wow, well, okay, I don't know. Let's get a look at your blood work. I don't know, you know, maybe, you know, might be a good idea if you got on. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that shit, man. Stop it. So from the time you can fucking walk, they got you sitting on your ass, eating trash. Now we're going to fucking, you know, the first couple problems you present with, we're going to fix with a pill. The problems that come off of that pill, we're going to fix with another pill. And then when you're so fucked up, nobody knows what to do with you. We're going to send you to some hospital where the AI is going to say, I don't know what the fuck you're doing at a hospital. Maybe you're crazy. We're going to deny this claim. Now we're going to break you in half and, you know, see you at the fucking morgue. That's about the size of it. So if you're going to come and try to tell me that this fucked up situation needs to be overlooked because one of the guys who was at the helm of this thing happened to have started out in a working class background, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. I do not give two fucks about that. What I will say, though, in terms of discussing the violence at hand, because some of the takes I've seen was like, I saw there was a picture of like some pizzeria, and I want to say it was in New York, but they had a picture of like the Luigi Mangioni's head like superimposed over, you know, like a saint type back. So he's like an icon, you know, and he's got like the robes and the heart and like the whoa, like aura coming off of him and this shit. And they got it hung up there like you would with like whatever fucking Saint Ravioli, patron saint of pizzerias or some kind of thing. I don't know from saints or pizzerias, but this is just, you know, telling you what I saw. So they got this up there and it's like, hey, check this shit out. And, you know, you see some people that are like, that's kind of cool. And then other people that are like, oh man, you know, the leftists, you know, these commies, bro, they really embrace violence. Okay, so let's start with that, dude. Like, one, we know that your average leftist is kind of a limp-wristed little sissy. We know also that apart from this thing that like, yeah, they've been supported in a lot of their violent efforts, but when they're not propped up and when they're not supported, when they're not overlooked by the fuzz or by the feds or by the media or who fucking ever else, they do get their head cracked. And when they get fucked up, they're, you know, you look at them, they're just little fucking twink fucks, man. These are not jacked motherfuckers. Like commies and lefties and fags and this, they're not in there hitting the weight pile, dude. These are not jacked and tan motherfuckers. Like, they're not us, dude. So you got to ask yourself, like, well, think about what you're saying, dude. Like, the left really embraces this violence. Why the fuck aren't you, dude? They got every good reason to just lay back and be like, yeah, I'm not really big enough. Yeah, bro, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not going out there. They're still fucking doing it. They're still rooting for this shit. And you could say that like, well, yeah, but man, I root for this shit and somebody's going to show up at my door. Dude, I'm not saying go do this. I'm not saying if you do this, coffee's going to give you a spot to hide. I'm not saying coffee is suggesting or approving. I'm not recommending anybody go and do this shit. All I'm looking at is what happened, dude. I'm like the fucking weatherman. Yeah, it's raining outside. Oh, it's sunny outside. I'm just seeing what's going on and giving my take on it. And when I look at this, I gotta say, like, what the fuck did you expect, dude? I think we've discussed ad nauseum just how bad you get fucked, in this system where, like, you got to go to fucking work, you earn some fucking money, your boss gets taxed on the money he gives to you, you get the money, you get taxed on that money, you go to buy something, you get taxed when you spend that money, and then depending on what you buy, you get taxed again and again and again. You get taxed to own it, you get taxed to use it. Even if you don't do anything with it, you gotta like fucking car insurance. You gotta pay to fucking use this thing. You gotta pay some other racket because there might be some dumb son of a bitch out there that doesn't have any way to pay for anything if he fucks somebody up. So now you got fucking insurance. You're gonna pay tax on this thing. You're gonna pay fucking registration on this thing. You're gonna pay for permission to use the shit that you bought and got taxed on. How fucked up is this? And then they're going to fucking come to you again and be like, why are you so angry? Well, just shit, dude. I don't know. I can't imagine. Why would anybody be upset by this? So again, whether this was like, whether this was a fucking glow up, or whether this was something that they're just going to grab onto and use as a way to say, hey, yeah, man, anybody that we don't like now, we can just kind of pop the top on them and say it was some guy or some crazy ass girl or some kind of shit, and we got nothing else to worry about, man. Like, life is good. But realistically, that might not even come into play because people are kind of fucking sick of it, man. And quite frankly, I cannot blame them. But what I will do, man, is I will say that, as opposed to giving any kind of definite, like, hey, somebody should do this, somebody should do that, I will give, like, the big pussy award, honestly, to the libertarian community about, as I've seen more than a few takes now, about some of this shit of, like, well, you see, you're infringing on his right to live, and that right there, that violates the non-aggression, principle. So, I mean, this isn't a way to live. Like, we would never live like this, bro. And, it's fucking crazy and somebody should stop it. And, I'm just, what the fuck is this, dude? So I've seen something saying that, like, yeah, maybe this leads to more violence or more attacks against prominent figures. And I'll tell you what, man, it's like yelling at a dog or something. Like, if you just listen the first fucking time when people say, hey, man, I don't really like how you're doing me right here, this shit would not happen. People would be like, all right, well, yeah, they fucked around, but, we said, hey, that's a little spendy. Maybe that's a little bit much. And they cooled out and it was fine. This shit would never happen then. But they don't fucking listen. You see fucking stories about people getting broke the fucking half, and it's like, hey, this is kind of fucked up, don't you think? Yeah, I don't give a shit. Fuck yourself. Pay up. Like, okay, well, that is not going to end well for somebody. I don't know what to say. But I have talked to a few people now about, thoughts on what's going to happen between now and inauguration. And some people have some concerns. And from the looks of it, it does look like Biden regime, to whatever degree fucking Bidenomics is directing any of the traffic on this shit. I don't think that guy, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. But they are talking about, like, yeah, dude, it looks like they're going to try to get something done. They're going to try to start some kind of shit before the turnover. And I would say that this deal that went down in Russia with this general, I think the guy's name was Kirillov, assassinated this Russian general. And if you don't know who this is or didn't see anything about this guy, I can't remember his first name, but it's a Russian general named Kirillov, and he was the head of Russia's CBR, so Chemical, Biological, Radiological Warfare Division. Allegedly, he's the guy that kind of blew the whistle on, like, yeah, we found out, we're the ones that found out that the U.S. had biochem, bio research facilities in Ukraine that was doing illegal shit, and we're not cool with it. So if he is the guy that did that, or he's just a guy picked out of a hat, or a guy that they managed to find, I couldn't say for sure. What I did see for sure is that the way that this went down seemed pretty interesting. And the way that this went down was this guy got targeted outside of what appears to be a really shitty East Block apartment complex. So mind you, this guy is a general. And he's staying in this place. It's like fucking Russian doomer apartment block, dude. It's somebody showed a close-up of it, and it's like this shitty, crummy-ass building with like brick overlay. So it's not even a real brick building. It's just like this busted-ass looking apartment. And this guy was staying in this place, and somebody had parked a scooter with what I will imagine was probably like a DoorDash or whatever the fuck they have for DoorDash in Russia, like probably some Yandex related thing. Parked that outside the entrance and then had eyes on, apparently. So when the guy appeared, then command detonated it. So as the guy walks out, like kablam, blew that guy up. I want to think they either killed or injured several other people, and I can't remember for sure, but definitely killed this general. The takeaway on this is, one, this is very much reminiscent of an attack that took place in Germany, and this was a good few decades ago, but this was by a communist group, and it targeted a banker. And the way that they did this thing was sort of similar. The way that I heard it described was that they had a bicycle with a package parked on it, with an IED parked on it. Inside this IED was what's called a shape charge. So the way that this works is it's got like a chunk of metal, and when the explosive goes, it's constructed in a way that makes that chunk of metal work like a projectile. So it's like the same way that a gun works, is like you've got this chunk of something, right? You've got the slug, the actual bullet, and when there's a little explosion through the gunpowder, the only place for that energy to go is out the barrel, and it pushes that bullet out there and, downrange. So this kind of works the same way, except instead of gunpowder, you've got explosives, and it pushes this big, like much, much bigger chunk of metal over there somewhere. So in this case, like if you pack this thing up, real nice, like you're talking about a slug of metal, maybe like the size of a cue ball or something. And the way that they did this, it was pretty clever the way they did this. What they had was kind of like, the bing bong thing when you walk into like a store where it's like bing bong, and it's like you break that little light beam, right? So the way that they did this was they had two of these like little bing bong light sensors, right? And they knew the car that the guy would be in. They knew he'd be in the back of his, whatever the fuck it was, like Mercedes limo or some shit. And they knew that he would be driving. He knew he'd be in the back of this thing. So they know what car he's going to be in. They know how far it is from the front of the car to that rear passenger door. So they measure this thing out where that explosive is sitting. It's going to be sitting right at that door as the car drives past. So now the way that they have this worked out is the explosive is only going to go when both of these light beams are broken at the same time, when they're both turned off at the same time. And I don't know exactly how you make this work properly, because I had kind of wondered, like, well, dude, what if it's a car in front of one and then there's a car in front of the other at the same time? I don't see how this doesn't turn fucked up. This is the story I heard anyway, was that this is how they had it with these two bing bong sensors. And then when this limo comes by, then, because it's much bigger than anything else, and again, I guess, how the fuck would you not have it go off with like a semi truck or something? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Anyway, so this thing comes by, breaks both of these light beams at the same time. Kaboom, the thing goes off right as the passenger door is going by. And it's like an up-armored car, I guess. Goes off, boom, shoots in there, smokes just this guy, leaves the driver and everybody else around the scene just fine. And, whatever. So it was kind of reminiscent of this idea where, like, you've got a scooter parked out here with an IED attached to it. And in this case, though, it's a little lower speed where it's command detonated, where there's somebody watching and like, boom, clicks it off. I don't know the details of what the command detonation system was. I mean, like in Iraq, they could use cell phones, and I don't know how to make that work. Those motherfuckers are like, they're silly and weird, but they come up with some fucking brilliant shit. So like the policy for us was like, when we roll through, do not have your fucking phone out. If we see you with your fucking phone out and you're fucking around, you're just going to get shot. Because these fuckers they'd have it rigged up where they could set it off with their cell phone. And I don't know how it works, but apparently that's the deal. So I don't know if this was command detonated with a cell phone. I don't know if it was with just like have two wires and touch them to some fucking car battery around the corner. That's possible too. Maybe it could have been something that fucking simple. I have no idea. But it appears to be that it was command detonated. I don't know exactly what kind of charge it was. From the way that it fucked up the building, it looked like it was probably just like an improvised claymore kind of a thing, where you would just put a bunch of like nuts, bolts, nails, whatever the fuck, and then pack that shit in there with explosive, and then when you light it off, all of that shit like boom, like acts like a projectile and just shoots out there. So I would imagine that's the way that this went down, because they just got him. It looked like walking from the front of this apartment thing to the door of whatever he was going to get in. As far as some of the discussion I had heard, and again, like I don't know specifically about anything about this this device or how it was put together or anything beyond what I've told you already. But what I do know is that every explosive does have its own signature. So unless they used something like just black powder, like if they used any kind of produced explosive like C4 or anything like this, it all has its own signature. So it works like a batch of like, yeah, this one came from the factory in fucking Toledo, Ohio or whatever. So what I'd seen already is that they're talking about, yeah, this attack has all the markings of NATO involvement. They didn't say, like, this is what Russia said. And so obviously I don't know, what they are going by. Because if you were to say like, yeah, this was just a black powder thing with a bunch of nuts and bolts and fuck this guy up, and they set it off with a car battery around the corner, just a guy on a cell phone watching from across the street, and they're like, yeah, here he comes, ready, light it in 3, 2, 1, and boom, like that's pretty fucking low tech, right? I mean, that's pretty fucking straightforward. So to be able to look at something like this and say, yeah, we see, indicators of NATO involvement, that leads me to believe that probably there was something like this explosive signature, or maybe they actually used, US produced components for this shit. I have no idea. But they did come out and say that, and I think it was Medvedev that came out and said, yeah, at this point, we feel justified in considering any NATO target a viable target. So bearing in mind now that I think they kind of know that once Trump gets in, that this is probably going to be resolved quickly and the free ride is going to end for fucking Ukraine. Because these assholes, like, they just signed another thing to like, yeah, we're going to give them even more money. Like, good money after bad. We're going to give them even more money. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? There's no way this ends well. Where's this fucking money going? You know where the fuck it's going. It's going into my retirement fund, right? I'm going to fucking buy my villa. That's what this is for. Thank you, taxpayer, dipshit. Now go pay that fucking medical insurance. So, yeah, I think that they're holding on, trying to stay cool as much as they can until Trump gets in. So I think that's kind of the deal, is what's going to break first. Like, the Russian patience is going to wear out first, or is the clock on the Bidenopolis regime going to run out? Whereby they're like, oh, well, we just couldn't provoke anybody into anything. And then we're just going to be down to like, then it's just going to be the Israel show. And who the fuck knows what goes on there. But yeah, if you didn't see that shit, the only actual Syrian doctor just pulled up and moved to Moscow. Old Assad, the former head of Syria, got cheese-dicked, and it was very weird. Like, there was no real resistance, it didn't look like. And that guy managed to get out, I think, by the skin of his teeth and make it out to Russia. And I guess previously Iran and Russia had kind of helped suppress some of the, bunny ears Syrian rebels. I think we can just say Mossad agents at this point. I think that's fair. But this time around, they didn't really help out. And I don't know. I couldn't say exactly why. I mean, I will say that at this point, I do wonder if like a Lebanon and a Syria and maybe even to some degree Iran isn't saying like, man, I wish we would have just launched hardcore on Israel. Maybe that would have saved us a whole lot of ass pain. I think it would have. Because, I mean, what do you have now? And, I mean, the way this has gone down is Israel is blowing the shit out of all kinds of weapon stashes and caches and bunkers and what have you in Syria. And their story is, oh, well, we don't want it falling into the wrong hands. So basically they're just bombing the shit out of the place. They're annexing new territory. That whole greater Israel thing, that shit's happening. They're expanding, and they're going to be setting up more of their little Hebrew apartments where tiny-hatted children can run around spitting on everyone. But yeah, and if all else fails, you'll be there. You or your kids or your brothers or maybe your dad will be over there to make sure everybody plays ball, because that's really what you're here for, is to make sure Israel has what they need. So yeah, I got my dollars ready. Let's woo, yay! A happy Israel is what I live for. Anyway, that said, I'm at the airport, dude, so I'm going to go inside and pretend none of this is happening. But if I don't talk to you again, I'll try to put something out, maybe put out something quick before the big Christmas, put out something good. But if I don't see you till then, have a Merry Christmas, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. And until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee, and these are my takes.